The Beaded Buckle, a comedy of village aristocracy by Frances Gray Patton, originally produced by the Carolina Playmakers in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, February 8th and 9th, 1924, published in Carolina Folk Plays. The scene is the home of Agnes Miller in Glendale, North Carolina. Her son awaits her on a sunny May afternoon. Louise Bailey enters, evidently on an important errand.
Agnes! Oh, Agnes! Hello, Joe! What are you doing at home?
How are you, Miss Louise? I'm mighty glad to see you. I just hopped off for the weekend. I don't know where Mother is, but sit down and wait. She'll be home pretty soon, I expect.
Yes, I will stay, Joe. I've got something very important to tell your mother. I suppose she's still at Sadie's tea.
Well, I wish she'd come on home. Seems like a year since I've seen her.
It hasn't been quite a year since the Easter holidays, but I know Agnes will be glad to see you. How'd you leave the hill?
Oh, quite as I found it. Very pleasant, but slightly monotonous.
Chapel Hill isn't exciting, but it's a mighty sweet old place. Studying hard?
Oh, yes, I'm keeping my nose to the grindstone. You know, I entered the law school this quarter.
Yes, so your mother told me. Oh, I'm glad that you did. Joe, if you're as much like your father on the inside as you are on the outside, you ought to make a good lawyer.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Daddy was a good lawyer, and I thought it was the natural thing to do. A legal mind kind of runs in the family.
I declare it's a pity that Joe Sr. couldn't live to see you grow up. He was so proud of you.
Oh, I wish I could remember Daddy better. Mother says he had the strongest mind and the clearest vision.
He was a born lawyer, and he was just as fair as the day is long.
Well, that's my idea of greatness. To be fair, to be above prejudice, to have an unerring sense of elemental justice.
It's a great thing to have.
I want to be able to stand on a mountain and look at the whole show and see all sides dispassionately, to be ruled by no emotion.
Well, we can't live without emotion, Joe.
Well, but emotion doesn't have to obscure the truth. I just want to be so just that I could judge the most charming person in the world without being biased. So I could judge my own mother.
My, what law book did you get that oration out of? I wish your mother would come on home.
Oh, so do I. I sure do want to see her. But what's she been doing these days?
Oh, she's flirting outrageously with Colonel Haywood, whom she has no idea of marrying.
The one with the bay window.
You ought to see the way Agnes strings him. She smiles up at him like he's the only man on earth. She'd put a 16-year-old girl to shame.
You know, I marvel at Mother, the way she keeps so young. She's such good company.
Yes, Agnes is a good companion.
Oh, she's the best I've ever seen. And she's pretty. Well, no wonder the Colonel fell for her.
Well, Agnes always had plenty of beaus, but she's devoted her life to you, Joe.
Yeah, she's been wonderful. She's been a mother and a father both. And she's got a conscience like a man's. She's the soul of honor.
But she always gets what she wants.
Because she's lovely. Everybody falls for her charm. She could get away with murder.
Oh, yes, I believe she could. I wish she'd come on. It's getting late, but I've got to see her.
If you're in a hurry, I'll take a message.
Thank you, Noah. I'd better wait. But, Joe,
Ma'am?
I suppose I ought to tell you, too. People are saying things about Agnes that I don't like.
Do you mean that someone has said something uncomplimentary about my mother?
Hold your horses, Joe. You can't do me any good if you fly up.
Well, I shan't permit.
Please give me a chance to talk. Can't you think quietly about this?
I hope I am old enough to be cool.
I hope so too. Come, sit down and let me tell you about it. You remember that lavender dress your mother had summer before last? The one with the fringe?
Yes'm.
Well, she had it dyed and she wanted a distinctive ornament for it.
Well, what under...
But she couldn't find anything in town that wasn't ordinary.
Well, naturally.
Then, day before yesterday, it seems she went into the Metropolitan clothing store and she saw a very commonplace dress ornamented with a beautiful beaded buckle.
Did she buy the dress?
She didn't want the dress, Joe. She wanted the buckle, but when she asked the clerk to sell it to her, she refused to sell it without the dress.
Those clerks are the dumbest.
Agnes finally sent her to ask the manager, but the manager said that he wouldn't take the buckle off the dress.
And poor mother couldn't get anything.
Agnes was very much irritated, so she went to the back of the store with the clerk to ask the manager again to sell it.
And he refused again?
Yes. He refused again. So your mother just left them back there and walked out of the store. But Joe, the next time they looked at the dress, the buckle was gone.
You reckon the salesgirl took it?
Probably, though. She's a mighty nice girl. Leona King, you know her.
Yeah, she was in my class at high school. Too bad.
Of course, she doesn't admit it. She and old Herb Shine say that Agnes stole the beaded buckle.
That my mother stole a buckle.
Isn't it preposterous? But the worst part is that today Agnes walked into the Metropolitan wearing the spit image of the lost buckle.
Was old Herb Shine impertinent to her?
Louise? Oh, no. He hasn't nerve enough to be impertinent. He just asked Agnes where she got her buckle.
And what did mother say?
Why, she said she ordered it from Raleigh.
Well, I reckon old Shine took a back seat then.
No, but he didn't. He and Leona started telling the town that Agnes stole. Joe, where are you going?
I'm going to kill Herbert Shine.
Now listen to me, Joe. You be calm and wait.
Do you think I can be calm while the scum of the earth is slandering my mother?
You'd better wait and consult your mother before you do any killing.
Oh, Joe, you precious lamb. Ooh, where did you drop from? Oh, you're so strong you'll break every bone in my body. Why didn't you let me know you were coming? I'd have had a party for you.
I don't want a party, Mother. I wanted to see you.
Aren't you the quintessence of gallantry? Stand off there and let me look at you. Just let me look at you. Isn't he beautiful, Louise? You know I haven't seen him since Easter. Isn't he perfectly lovely? Son, you're so beautiful, I just can't stand it. Look me straight in the eye and tell me the truth, Joseph.
Yes, Mother, my word is as good as my bond.
Are you getting enough to eat?
Oh, yes, absolutely on my honor.
I don't know. You look a little wan. Don't you think so, Louise?
Well, no, not particularly, Agnes.
But you're perfect anyway. You're just perfect. Why are you so perfect, son?
Because Miss Louise is my godmother, I guess.
No, I don't take any of the credit, Joe.
But what have I done to ever deserve such a son?
If you had your desserts.
Did you ever see a boy so unconscious of his own beauty? See how straight he holds himself. I I love him to distraction. Come here, Angel, and kiss your poor old downtrodden mama.
Mother, you look like a full-blown rose.
It's a blessing to have a dear, appreciative child in your old age, especially when he's all you've got in the world. Lou, do you think you could ever love one of yours like I love Joe?
Oh, I think I love him enough, but I know that if I raved about my six, like you rave about Joe, they'd think I was crazy.
But he's so perfect.
They all are.
I thought I smelled that horrible old thing. That's all right, Joe. If you can't smell up your own mother's house, whose house can you smell up? Do you like my dress?
Yes, Mother, but
Agnes, I came to tell you about that dress. Everybody is talking.
What's the matter? Has some old gossip monger discovered that it's about 100 years old?
Agnes, I might as well tell you. Mr. Shine and Leona King say that you stole that buckle.
Stole this buckle?
They say that you went in their store.
Yes, I went in their store. I admit I went in their store. I went in their store because there are no decent stores in this town to go in.
And wanted them to sell you a beaded buckle.
Yes, it was the only pretty thing in the store, and they refused to sell it to me without a tacky little dress. Refused to sell me a buckle, when it's only my patronage and that of my friends that has kept the doors of that store open at all. It's the insolence of it all that I despise. Well, I can remember when old Herb Shine was just...
They say that after you left, they looked at the dress and the buckle was gone.
And therefore, I took it. I took their beaded buckle. It's pitiful how the insignificant love to slander their superiors. I suppose they will attempt to blackmail me.
yeah, I'm going to beat up that swine.
No, Joe. You can't do that and get all this in the paper. Your mother's name in the paper in such a story. We can't court publicity. We'll have to hush this thing up, because that little Leona has lied to all her friends, and that stratum of Glendale society considers me a thief.
The low-down bloodsuckers, the gully dirt,
Joe, I thought it was you who were orating to me about level-headedness. Calm down and try to see their point of view.
They have no point of view.
Oh, yes, they have. The buckle is gone. Of course, it's ridiculous for old Shine to say that Agnes took it, but he thinks he's right. There's nothing to be mad about.
Mad? Of course I'm mad. I'm fighting mad. I'm mad because they have displeased my mother.
I'll have to see them myself. I'll have to see that this thing is stopped immediately. It isn't fair to Joe to allow his mama's name to be...
I wouldn't go down there if I were you, Agnes.
No, indeed. They shall come up here, and I shall tell them to be quiet. I go down there indeed. They must come to me. I'll make them go down on their knees. 178, please. May I speak to Mr. Shine? How do you do, Mr. Shine? This is Mrs. Joseph Conray Miller of Myrtle Hill. I wish you and Miss King to confer with me immediately. No, tomorrow will not do. No, I shall not be free to see you this evening. Very well, Mr. Shine, but I think it would be to your advantage to come immediately. I shall expect you in a few minutes at my home then. Thank you. The idea of their refusing to sell me a buckle in the first place. I needed that buckle to complete my costume. What does he keep his messy little store for anyway, if it's not to serve me?
Mother, I can't stand it.
Agnes, there goes Mrs. Berkeley, looking like she's full of a mean tale.
I bet she's spread writing the Buckle story. We'll call her in. Oh, Mrs. Berkeley, come in a minute. Joe, she's a newcomer trying to break into society, and she has the most abominable tongue in town. Well, how do you do, Mrs. Berkeley? Come in. I want to show you my jewels.
Your jewels? How do you do, Mrs. Bailey?
Yes, my child and my first roses. This is my son, Joseph. How do you like him?
I'm afraid that if I told him, I might embarrass him.
Oh, he's really quite nice when you know him. But oh, Mrs. Berkeley, I've a choice bit of gossip.
What is it? Do tell me, my dear.
It's about this beaded buckle. It seems I stole it.
You stole it?
So I hear. It seems that I went into the Metropolitan store, knocked the clerk down, snatched the buckle, and ran out of the store with the whole works crying after me, "Stop, thief!" Can you imagine that?
How absurd!
Yes, it would be amusing if it were somebody else. The salesgirl evidently took it. I'm not going to say anything about it, though. I really feel sorry for her. Starved for beauty, I suppose. Of course, this is all confidential.
Of course.
And Mrs. Berkeley, as you go, I want you to take those. They're my first from the garden.
Oh, why, they're lovely. It's awfully sweet of you.
Oh, can't you and Mr. Berkeley drop in for bridge tonight?
We'd be very pleased to come.
I shall expect you then, about 8. And remember, don't breathe that buckle story to a soul.
Oh, no, that's confidential. Goodbye. So glad to have seen you.
That settles her. She'll spread your version.
She looks like a cat.
She'll spread my side. But there'll always be people in town who'll believe that I stole that buckle.
It's hard for you, but I do believe old Shine and Leona will soon need more sympathy than you do.
If Mother will let me alone, Shine will.
Well, I'll run before the fight begins. My cook got married last week, and I've got to run and fix supper.
Louise, you're just lovely to come tell me. You're the living example of true friendship.
Oh, Agnes, don't take on so.
I don't see how anybody can be a cook and a lady at the same time. But you could step off an ash can and say the right thing at the right time. Oh, by the way, dear, the Colonel is coming to dinner this evening, and he has a plebeian passion for boiled onions. And oh, Lou, should you mind if I sent them over to your house to be boiled? They make the house smell so bad.
Why, Agnes Miller, you certainly can flatter and insult in the same breath. But no, I don't mind. Send them along. Bye-bye.
Ah, Louise is pure gold. But Joe, isn't it strange how some people can be born and bred with no conception of honor? Like that little Leona King. People who don't even know it's wrong to lie. Or if they do, as your great Uncle Sam said to your great Uncle Fred, the worst of it is they don't give a damn.
Mother, say damn again. You do it so charmingly.
Why, dear, you know I never said damn in my life. Joe, did you think your own mother would ever be called a thief?
Mother, please let me kill that man.
Oh, no, not for the world. But as if it would have been stealing if I had taken his old buckle. Why, the thing wasn't worth $2, and it's only my patronage. And then to be rewarded in this way.
That stripe of trash doesn't know the word gratitude.
And by the way, dear, What's the law about libel?
We haven't taken that up yet.
Answer it, Joe. And wait, dear. Be kind and firm. Hold up your shoulders and remember that you have the best blood of North Carolina in your veins. Good afternoon, Mr. Shine. How do you do, Leona? Won't you sit down?
Good evening, Ms. Miller.
How do? Hey, Joe.
How do you do, Miss King?
I called you here, Mr. Shine and Leona, because I hear that you have been maligning my character.
Now, you don't want to believe all you hear, Ms. Miller.
Am I to understand that you have not said, Mr. Shine, that I took from your store a beaded buckle?
Well, now, Ms. Miller,
Mr. Shine, do you think that there is any sane person in Glendale who would believe that I stole a buckle from you? Don't you realize that to refuse to sell me a buckle in the first place was insolence? Don't you?
Ms. Miller, now we've always been good friends, and I'd like to have given you that buckle, but
Mr. Shine, I've never taken a gift from you, and I never expect to. You know, I suppose that it is from me and my friends that you get your bread and butter. Your little old store isn't any good. You never keep anything fit to wear. We always have to go to Raleigh in the end. But we keep on trading with you out of kindness. That's all that keeps you out of bankruptcy. And in offending me, you have offended the best people in Glendale.
there ain't no reason to get offended, Ms. Miller. I've always been your friend. 'Twas just 2 winters ago that I knocked $5 off of your winter blankets.
There's no use mincing words. You two have borne false witness against me. You are guilty of a horrible crime, the crime of libel. My son, who is a lawyer student at the university, has informed me that I can have you put in jail for 60 days and heavily fined.
Oh, Ms. Miller, I hope you don't believe I said nothing against you. I don't know who started that lie about me, but you know I never said that.
I'm glad you understand how serious libel is. My duty to society is to have you sent to the penitentiary. My son has urged me to prosecute you to the full extent of the law.
I never heard that law before.
Oh, there are a great many things you have never heard of before, Leona. And one of them, I regret to say, is the truth. I don't want to cast doubt upon you, but are you sure you don't know where that beaded buckle is?
No, ma'am. I haven't said I didn't know where the buckle was.
She saw you.
You are a liar.
Yeah, well, it's better for me to lie than for you to lose your manners.
I could have you both put in jail tomorrow, but I'm not going to prosecute you. I'm not even going to have my friends boycott you. But I want you to know that I could. I need only speak the word and no lady would ever set foot in your store again.
Let's don't have no hard feelings, ma'am. It's sure kind of you to do that way after what Leona said.
Well, the buckle was gone.
And when I walked in with a similar buckle on my dress, you jumped to the conclusion that I had stolen it. Leona, I permitted my son to go to the public high school. I am not a stickler for caste, but I'm forced to speak to you of it. Don't you understand that I am well known in Glendale? That my family for generations has stood for honor and integrity? Don't you see that anyone of consequence would laugh at the idea of my stealing a buckle?
Well, I couldn't see where it went to.
I was terribly hurt that it was you who said these things, Leona, because you are the only clerk in town who has any taste. I'd always felt perfectly safe when I traded with you. But now,
Well, you know how sometimes when you're worried, you say things.
yes, dear, I know. But we mustn't let our tongues run away with us. We must always be sure that they are telling the truth.
I didn't mean.
I'm glad you're sorry, Leona. Now we can be friends again. I've liked you ever since you were a little girl with such pretty hair. I see you still got it. And it's all for your own good that I'm saying this. I would hate for you to get into trouble. And the easiest way to do it is to begin saying things about people behind their backs and stoop into petty dishonesties.
I wasn't dishonest.
Of course you weren't, intentionally. But it wasn't right to slander me, Leona. Don't cry. Here, take my handkerchief and keep it to remember me by.
Oh, it smells so sweet.
Mr. Shine, I told you that I got this buckle from Raleigh. Here is the bill for it.
Can't you take my mother's word? You look at that bill and I'll break your neck.
Now, that don't make no difference. And Miss Miller, if any of your friends speaks of this full story again, you can tell them that. As I think about it, I believe I saw that buckle slip through a hole in the floor.
Yes, there was a hole in the floor.
Very well. I suppose that's just what happened. I knew you would explain things to me, and then we could be good friends again. Thank you so much for coming, and now goodbye. Goodbye, Leona.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mother, you are the most diabolically clever person. Why, they reacted so to your charm that they left here feeling like you had paid them a compliment.
Well, what's charm good for if it doesn't get reaction? Oh dear. I'm so sorry all this happened while you were at home. Come sit down by me and tell me everything.
Mother, this isn't the bill for the buckle. It's a bill for my new tuck.
Is it, dear? I declare, I was about to show them the wrong bill. But you saved me. Reacted wonderfully, too.
But Mother, where is the bill for the buckle?
The bill for the buckle? There is no bill for the buckle. What's the matter, dear? Was that very wicked?
But Mother...
Joe, what are you thinking, darling?
When I look at you, Mother, I can't think. I only know that I love you and that you are the most adorable woman in the world.